Christine Haruna Lee's Suicide Forest is a non-linear play, and it's very hard to pin down. At one point it breaks down the fourth wall, so I'm not sure what's real and what isn't. And there were different power play scenes which involved sex and humiliation. Not my cup of tea. I think Mark Savitt would have enjoyed this more. This is a very unsettling play, and some of the dialogue was in Japanese without translation, which made it even more difficult for me to comprehend. But much of the audience understood it better than I did. They were laughing heartily, and I even heard some sniffles. I really admire Christina Haruna Lee very much, and I still do. And I thought the acting was very good, and Alice Taverner's costume designs were wonderful. This just, like I say, this isn't for me, but it might be for you.
Sam Shepard's True West is back on Broadway. It's the story of two brothers staying at their mom's Southern California suburban home who supposedly are working on a screenplay together, but end up working more on each other's nerves. Will they somehow find the meaning of what is the West in America anymore, or will they destroy each other and their mom's home before that can be accomplished? I love seeing Ethan Hawke and Paul Dano in this. Ethan Hawke plays the more dissolute, kind of thieving brother, while Paul Dano is more buttoned down. But as they get together more, they end up kind of exchanging personalities.
You know, I'm not a Sam Shepard fan. Yeah, so you all know that about me. So, but the thing is this. Paul Dano and Ethan Hawke were just so good, and I got so, they were, for the first time, I actually liked what they did with this play, and I came to a really interesting conclusion, and because I understood what was going on, and I was seeing the family dynamics, it hit me. Paul Dano turned Ethan Hawke, his brother, into his father, because they both had father issues, because their father kind of like, was emotionally withholding from them. So they were always trying to, you know, get their father's attention. And because he felt that Ethan Hawke had more of a relationship with his father than he did, all of a sudden it's like, so that made Ethan Hawke the father. And while thinking this way, it put a whole new spin on it and was fascinating to me.
Yeah, I think this is one of Sam Shepard's greatest plays. It's really funny. It's also very deep about the family dynamics. And just one little note, toasters beware. I'm giving it an absolute happy face.
Oh, I should give it a happy face too. Oh, and Mary Louise Burke. Mary Louise Burke. I love Mary Louise Burke alone, just in her, you know, 7th hour performance. I loved.
Yeah, her 11 o'clock number.
Jake Goldbas and I saw Dying in Boulder at La Mama, and there's a lot more on Facebook, believe me. Linda Fago Hall's Dying in Boulder. Creating a big drama here is stage 4 cancer, which in this plot is killing Jane. Before Jane dies, she summons her sister Lydia and her daughter Nikki, who wants to make peace with her sister. Her husband Diane, although Catholic, is a professional Tai Chi instructor and tries to keep Jane happy and fulfill her dying wishes. Jane's demand that her burial adhere to strict Tibetan Buddhist rites brings spiritual guide and hipster bro Max to the house, who tries to help Jane as much as possible. Jane chose Buddhism for a few reasons, not least of which was despite enemies of free thought. That is, Jane is a free spirit who made a living as a painter and did drugs and alcohol throughout her life, and Jake gives us a happy face. I thought that, a happy face plus. I thought there were a lot of contradictions in this play, but that's life, or in this case, death. Ultimately, this is a play about choices, and you don't always choose the right one. Some have far-reaching consequences that maybe you could forgive or not. So he gives it a happy face plus, I give it a happy face minus.
At St. Anne's Warehouse in Brooklyn, the Worcester Group is presenting the B-side, Negro Folklore from Texas State Prisons, a record album interpretation. It basically is a 1965 album that was recorded, edited, and annotated by Bruce Jackson. Eric Berriman, who's one of the performers, fell in love with this album, approached Kate Vaughn to do this as one of their works, after having done a similar record presentation of Shaker Spirituals. The three guys, they're three African-American guys. They're wearing modern clothing, but it's very much a homage to the incarcerated men and the enslaved men before them who were singing these work songs, telling anecdotes, and doing like preaching parodies. It's very moving and very interesting, and I'd love to get my hands on the album. So I'm giving it a happy face.
Will Snyder's Death of a Driver spends 18 years in Kenya, where Sarah is hoping to build roads throughout Kenya in order to make the lives better for the people who will be able to get to schools and hospitals and improve their lives and economy. She hires Kennedy and his taxi to take her around. They connect in the course of their conversation at a bar where they are taking a break. She hires him to help pave the way for her road, as he is familiar with the people in the territory. Will the road get built? Will the corrupt government or politics get in the way of the road and their friendship? The play is very slight. Two people discussing getting a road built and their respective personal relationships doesn't sound like a very compelling play, but with the outstanding acting of Sarah Baskins and Patrick Sanjuvu and Kim Sharp's direction, I found myself really caring about these two people, and I give this a happy face.
Jan Ewing saw the light at MCC Theater. It's a play by Loy A. Webb, directed by Logan Vaughn, and he felt it's a taut, powerful play about the respect or lack of it shown to women in our culture. The subject might be the defining issue of our age. Rashad has a pleasant surprise for his girlfriend, Genesis, on their anniversary, but as the evening progresses, a dark secret surfaces that threatens to destroy their relationship. Can they get past it? That's left to the audience to decide. The ambience is gentle and loving until the focus shifts to the distant past and the pain of a devastating incident takes over the discussion. What follows is a fascinating look at the effects of violence on women in general, but more importantly, how it is influenced by the attitude toward domestic relationships currently prevalent in the black community. He gives it a happy face plus.
And so do I. You can hear what I have to say on Facebook, but we really, and it's in the new MCC space, so really you want to check this one out. Athol Fugard's Boesman and Lena is a signature theater. I didn't like it the first time I saw it, and my opinion has not changed. I Gewalt. It's so boring, and also, my God, the minute you enter and you look at the set, you think it's waiting for Godot. It's this flat, barren landscape with the tree. So basically, Boesman is this horrible character that beats up poor Lena. Lena is like fed up with it, and he chased away their dog as they get chased away by the white people, and she sees this old African guy, and she kind of turns him into her dog and someone to talk to, even though she can't understand a word he says. And it's just the dynamics between downtrodden people. And I don't like this play. I'm never going to like this play. Maybe you will. I don't.
The Mint Theater is presenting Elizabeth Baker's The Price of Thomas Scott, directed by Jonathan Bank, and it concerns a draper who's been in the neighborhood for many, many years, but the neighborhood's gone down and he's losing money, but he's also quite a religious fanatic, and he has the opportunity to sell his store to a company that wants to put in a dance hall, but he feels the devil is behind dancing. So will his convictions prevent him from taking advantage of this opportunity to get rid of his shop, which is not making money anymore, and help his family that desperately needs it?
Yeah, the thing is, the guy, you may not believe his religious convictions or whatever, and his principles, but the point is, he has principles, and everyone acts very consistently and honestly and believably, and you just really like these people, and I just thought it was really good.
It's an extremely well-written play. It's very well constructed. I didn't care that much about the basic premise because it kind of feels very tired after Footloose. But it's very thoughtful. So, and the acting, as usual, at the Mint is brilliant. The set is wonderful. The lighting, they always do a really smash-up job.
The acting and the dance sequence are just
Yes.
so lyrical. It just shows you the contrast, and I just thought.
Yeah, I have trouble with most things involving religion, so I'm not really the best audience for this. But even I would give it a happy face minus.
Yeah, and even the guy who had no point for religion could admire the guy.
He's still too much of a religious fanatic tyrant for my taste, but still, go to the Mint.
Deb Margolin's Imagining Madoff is a deeply philosophical play where Madoff is simply the stepping off place where a secretary is testifying about her former employer and her naive part in the scandal, and Solomon Gulkin, a Holocaust survivor, poet, and treasurer of his temple, discusses religious matters with his good friend and confidant Bernie. This is a morality play with pure Solomon Gulkin versus evil Madoff, and caught in the middle is a secretary. Nobody wins and everyone loses, but what do they each lose? What set this play above all others about Madoff was when a burning question about the ending of a light bulb joke was revealed. How many Jews does it take to screw in a light bulb? It sent such a chill through me. This was no longer an intriguing play about a horrible man that destroyed lives, but so much more. Furthermore, the last line puts everything into such a new perspective that left me gobsmacked. I'm not telling you because you have to see this. Happy Face Plus.
Jacob Goldbas saw Skinnamarink, which was at New York Theater Workshop next door. Little Lord and Michael Levitt Skinnamarink is a new experimental theater project. Singing is a bit of otherworldly humor here. People with well-adjusted childhoods will see the sketches and vignettes in this play as humorous satire, and people with unhealthy mindsets will recognize the current education system as ideological indoctrination and nothing less. The play is disjointed and nonlinear to tell this ambiguous lesson. The playwrights are essentially correct and insightful. The audience should go into this play with a hopeful, healthy, and open mindset, and he gave it a happy face plus.
Theater 2020 is putting on Sondheim's Into the Woods, which is universal themes of parenthood, longing, desires told in fairy tale terms. I was a bit alarmed when I read the program and saw the setting was a refugee settlement camp somewhere. The set started out with chain link fence and with beds behind it, but luckily it immediately turned into the woods that I know and love, and nothing was added to take away focus from the show that we are familiar with. So I don't even know why they even mentioned this in the first place, because it wasn't explored, it wasn't necessary, and it's really Into the Woods, so don't be concerned about that. A baker and his wife desire a child. They have been cursed with childlessness by their next-door neighbor, the witch, because the baker's father stole from her garden while his mother was pregnant with him. To reverse the curse and appease the witch, they must recover 4 objects: a milky white cow, a cape as red as blood, 1 gold slipper, and hair the color of silky corn. This is a classic illustration of beware answered prayers. Happy ever after doesn't exist without a price. Stealing from witches and giantesses have their consequences. Sometimes the thing you think you wish don't end up being the things you want, and no matter how badly you want to protect your loved ones, random events occur that are out of your control, and no amount of blame can change events. And I give this a happy face minus because I love the score. I love this show so much, and the actress playing the witch was so powerful. Read more of my review on Facebook because I delve so much more into this, but really, truly, go see this.
Scott Siegel's great series, Broadway by the Year, is back at Town Hall, and so is Scott, recovering nicely, although still needing a cane. This time it was 1928 and 1935, really great years. And from 1925, I loved the idea of Love Me or Leave Me, Crazy Rhythm with great dancing by Danny Gardner and Broadway by the Year Dance Troupe. Great operetta music sung by Ali Ewald, John Easterman from The New Moon. And then 1935, we had stuff from Porgy and Bess, and we had Begin the Begin with great dancing again. And really lovely stuff. Summertime, I've Got Plenty of Nothing. It's one of the greatest series, and this was one of my favorite year combinations. So absolute happy face. Coming up on March 25th are the years 1943 and 1951. So be sure to go to Town Hall on Monday, March 25th.
And before that, you can go to 54 Below, because Scott Siegel has his 54 Sings Broadway's Greatest Hits and Sinatra Salutes and all sorts of stuff. So check 54 Below also for Scott Siegel
make
stuff.
sure you follow Scott, whatever he does.
Hurricane Diane by Madeline George, direction Lee Silverman at New York Theater Workshop. Well, Dionysus, who has never left, she is now landed as a landscape artist in New Jersey, and she needs to collect 4 housewives in order to save the planet from, global warming and bringing back, the rainforest, all that sort of thing that we all know and love. And oh my gosh, it's so funny. You've got Mia Barron, Carol Fleischer, who is like, all she wants, she's overwrought over her wrought iron fence. She just wants that in her. She doesn't care about pawpaw trees. And then you
like Trump and his wall.
Yeah. and Michelle Beck, who works for House and Garden Television, she is all into this sort of thing, and she is so happy about having her lawn turned into a forest. And then you have Danielle Skarsgård, who only wants it to represent this a painting in this Italian restaurant, and she is just this very direct, blousy, loud-mouthed Italian. Oh my God, you just love her. And then there's poor Beth Ron Kate Weatherhead, whose husband left her, and she's kind of ditzy and adorable and everything. And so there's Becca Blackwell as Diane, who wreaks havoc in their lives trying to save the planet. And what happens? I just came back from that, and it's funny and delightful. I absolutely had the best time. It was so good.
Recently at the 92nd Street Y was Lyrics and Lyricists presentation of Yes I Can, the Sammy Davis Jr. songbook. Artistic director and writer Lawrence Mason and director Tazewell Thompson. And we heard tunes from his early years in the Will Maston Trio, where he worked with his father and uncle, Broadway shows from Mr. Wonderful and Golden Boy, and later after Broadway stuff. The highlights for me were Jared Grimes, this incredible young guy, choreographer and performer who's waiting for the Robert E. Lee, Talk to the Animals. He also did an incredible singer and soft shoe thing to Bojangles, and other people were really good too. I didn't think this was quite as wonderful as some of the other 92 Street Y things, because I felt like the history wasn't presented as clearly, and I didn't always understand what point they were trying to make about the songs. But still, it's a great series. And coming up in, March 30th is Sondheim Wordplay, directed by Chris Gattelli, with Melissa Errico, Leslie Margarita, and many, many, many other great people. And Eva has some more to say.
Well, because I wanted just to say, I really like the Sammy Davis, because the thing is, this is Lyrics and Lyricists. So instead of concentrating more on Sammy Davis, they concentrate more on his shows, Golden Boy, Mr. Wonderful, and lyrics, because that's what the show is. So, and Jared Grimes really was amazing, and Harriet Ford does this amazing baton twirling thing. I really liked it a lot, so I'm giving it a happy face. And also Ruthie Ann Miles and Lauren Worsham and Telly Lone are going to be in the Sondheim thing. And also also, Joel Gray is going to be doing Fiddler on the Roof. That's going on right now. So check 92nd Street Y for their schedule for everything. And March 20th, don't forget, is Purim. So happy face always to lyrics and lyricists.
And to 92nd Street Y.
I got to go to a press conference of Duke Ellington's Sophisticated Ladies, which is going to be at NJ Pack March 21st to 24th. And the introductions are by Kimberly Schaefer, the choreographer, and Andre DeShills, the director. And the company is divided into divas, distingués, dukes, sophistications. And now for the musical numbers, take the A Train with the company, Love You Madly, Perdido with Nick Kent and Kennard, and Hit Me with a Hot Note and Watch Me Bout the Sophistications, Callie Cronin, Danielle Kelsey, and Jenny LaRouche.
Present to you today is called Take the A Train. It's one of the most well-known classic Duke Ellington songs. And in our version, this is our opening number. It is set in a train transportation hub, something very similar to a Grand Central Station. Yes, people are running late for the train, people are on their way to a weekend getaway, and our four gentlemen that are known as the Dukes in the show are actually dressed as the old-fashioned Pullman porters. So you'll notice them a little bit more upright, a little bit more, statuesque as they dance. And we basically, the whole community is on their way to find that A train to get to Harlem. Yes? So, now...
Marcia and I thought, well, these 45 years later, with this huge tectonic cultural change, why not join the forces of change and give voice to those women who are referenced in the title, Sophisticated Ladies? You might have noticed that there are more women in the show than there are men. When you see the finished product, I know you will be aware that the point of view is solidly from the feminine mystique. We're not beating up on anybody. What we also hope to bring to you in our iteration of Sophisticated Ladies is the combination of entertainment, which you just experienced, enlightenment, and ecstasy.
The number that we're going to present today is called Love You Madly and Perdido. It is a wonderful duet sung by Kenji and Ken Art.
You can see the complete press conference and musical numbers on YouTube, Eva Heinemann. And these are where you can see the shows that we saw where they are located. The red asterisk means it's a parody production recommendation. Lots of plays closing on March 31st. And Encores is back with Rogers and Hart's I Married an Angel from March 20th to 24th. League of Professional Women Awards is Monday, March 25th. Athena Theater Benefit is March 18th. On PBS, you can see Julius Caesar. New Georgia is having a party for free on March 25th. March 28th, hard to read. I'll have all the information on my Facebook page eventually. Lots of great stuff happening at 54 Below, at Forbidden Broadway tribute to Carol Channing. That should be wonderful. Holy Days at New Ohio Theater looks really good. And Lyrics and Lyricists is back at 92nd Street Y as is Fiddler on the Roof. So check out 92nd Street Y. Lots going on at BAM. And Nicky Paraiso is having his own play done at La Mama. And at Theater for the New City, Still at Risk looks really good. And Puppet for Faust. And at the Brick is Me and Lee, a musical about Lee Harvey Oswald and his wife and how they met and everything. And Culture Mart's going on here if you like puppets. Now theme changes with celebrities. And these you can find on the Facebook page. They close. Lots of them are from the Fidget Festival. And check out Parody Productions recommendation. Pick up your performing arts outside the Cultural Harpy in New York City. Next show is March 30th. And don't forget, on Facebook there's much longer reviews, and Twitter and YouTube. You can see the complete press conference for Sophisticated Ladies.